long lines of people who were lined up in their cars to help out here. Those people, you have brought $30,000 in cash donations tonight.
That's amazing.
Just in the last couple of hours.
And that doesn't include the supplies, the truckloads of supplies that people brought. So thank you. They're needed.
Yes, a big thank you there. Our Lisa Monahan has also been at the command center, and this is probably a given, probably goes without saying, but I will pass it along that school and more tomorrow has been canceled. Also getting word that we got $35,000 now in donations. Pretty good.
It's amazing. You step outside and the line goes from here all the way to Broadway Extension. And people are so nice. I was out standing in the line, and it's amazing now.
And we do want to point out we're going to end it for tonight, but we'll crank it back up tomorrow. So there'll be more help needed. David, incredible damage, incredibly powerful storm you guys saw today.
Yeah, you know, and yesterday the dynamics were intense. The jet stream was strong overhead, and again today, and it all came together. And you know, our biggest worry, our biggest threat has always been if something develops in Canadian County or Southwest Metro or Grady County or near to, you know, Newcastle, that we're in a world of hurt. And again today, that's where this storm went up. And we put all this together, and here's exactly what we saw and how this whole thing evolved a little bit earlier today. Right now, we're just a few miles north of Newcastle, still looking off to the southwest, and look at the wall cloud developing now. Folks, that thing is turning. It's getting faster and faster and faster. The tornado sirens now going off. The wall cloud began to spin faster and faster as it approached I-44 and southwest 149th in far southwest Oklahoma City. All right, again, it's southwest side of Oklahoma City, looking off to the west, Newcastle right here, and there it is, folks, large tornado. That's a large tornado. It's going to be 1/8 of a mile wide, a few hundred yards wide, winds in there well over 150 miles per hour, now going from an EF2 to possibly an EF3 tornado. That's going to be a deadly tornado, and look at it forming right now just to the west and southwest sides of Oklahoma City. We now drive right toward the half-mile wide maxi tornado with winds well over 200 miles per hour. Our next stop is southwest 149th in May. Listen to the roar. If you're not below ground, you will not survive this tornado, Gary. At least you have a safe room. This is a killer tornado. The motion is amazing. Look at the motion here, Gary. It's crossing Western. It's about 200 yards west of Western, Gary. It's getting ready to cross Pennsylvania south of 134th. South of 134th. It's crossing right now about a half mile south, Gary. It's about ready to cross I-35. I'm at 134th in Moore, looking off to my south at this monster, at this absolutely killer tornado. All right, we're on the east sides of Moore. This is Sooner Road. Look at the tornado. Look at what's going to be an EF3, EF4, maybe an EF5 tornado. Listen to the roar. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like rushing water. Look at the tornado right here. Absolutely amazing. Winds in there well over 200 miles per hour. It has cut a path from Newcastle through Moore, now East Moore, and that is a violent tornado. That is that's a killer tornado, no doubt about it. And look at the motion there, and you can hear it. Listen to it. Listen to that noise.
Just unbelievable video, and you were right there as it all was happening.
It was crazy, and like about a minute after that, it literally just vaporized. It just disappeared, and then it cycled a little bit later on, but did nothing like that again. So
great job by you and photojournalist Cody McDonald out there tracking this thing, and Val was on it too. And
yeah, we were all out there.
We appreciate it.
I don't think we've seen any that have done anything quite like this.
You know, Mike, comparing this tornado to the May 3rd tornado, I know you saw the May 3rd tornado. This tornado was every bit as strong as the May 3rd tornado. But you know what really strikes me about this storm, and when me and Amy got to it, went right up to the edge of this thing, it amazed me how slow it was moving. Yes. May 3rd was moving a lot faster. Anytime you get a tornado this big and this strong, the slower it goes, the more damage this thing is going to do because it sits over the same area.
Yeah.
And that is a very dangerous thing. You know, we saw, you know, we were at times within about a quarter of a mile south. We paralleled the tornado on the south side and followed it all the way down just north of 149th Street. We would pull up next to it. The winds would get so strong. We probably had 90+ mile per hour winds. We saw a barn that was just right across the street from us fly away, and that was from an inflow jet. It wasn't from the main part of the tornado. We got hit in the side of the truck. just plastered with all kinds of debris.
Incredible.
This was an incredible tornado, Mike.
If we have some of that video, again, we have video of where the tornado started that was out near the Newcastle area, I believe, and you guys can just keep rolling that video of earlier today of the tornado as Val and I are talking about it again. Val, it's just almost incomprehensible to me that the tornado it cut through the same path. I mean, literally went down the same streets as May 3rd.
You know, they're going to have to do a study on what causes that, you know?
Yeah. There's a look, by the way, from Bob Mills, Sky News 9, HD, and Jim Gardner, and that was when the tornado first formed. This is just one of those little needle tornadoes, you know? I mean, you think, okay, and we look at that. Then all of a sudden the condensation starts to fill in. Look at the top of it, too, Val. Talk about that as a storm chaser. When you start to see that top of the cone start to broaden.
That's exactly right, Mike. When it first came down, it was not that big, you know, but when we look up above and we look in the wall cloud and we see that massive rotation around the top of the funnel, you know, when you see that, you know it's going to get bigger. And we saw that on this tornado. We knew that thing was going to grow.
You know what was wild was, unless you zoom in real tight with the helicopter right at the bottom of it, and then you kind of lose the wide perspective, you don't necessarily see those first wisps of condensate either near the ground. And David called that before we ever really could even see it with the helicopter. I know Jim's sitting over here on the desk. We're going to talk to him a little bit here in just a moment. Val, thanks for your perspective.
Yes.
I don't know how many lives you helped save today, brother, but we appreciate it. You guys all just an amazing job. We're not going to break our arms, patting ourselves on the back or anything, but I just want to acknowledge all of you guys because the team out there, and you guys all did a fantastic job. And that's just a look at that tornado again. We'll let Jim talk some more about that again on that tornado here in a moment.
Above this scene, as this tornado, as it was forming, when did you realize this was going to turn into a deadly tornado?
You know, it was kind of when it passed where the H.E. Bailey and the I-44 split is. It was funny. I mean, this is a video right here where it just started, and I'm sitting just southwest of Newcastle. And, you know, it started as a small one, but the whole base of that cloud is rotating. So, you know, we just knew this was a repeat of yesterday. And you can see it just cycle. But once it came down and it really started churning the ground, and it was kind of funny. It was like I went right over the top of Newcastle, and this is where I was shooting. I was right sitting dead center of the city, shooting back, and it goes through here and wipes out a whole bunch of group of homes here and everything. Of course, this ain't, I mean, this is big, but it hadn't got its full strength yet. But when it passed that H.E. Bailey and I-44 split, I went, I was here before. I go, this is May 3rd all over again, because it passed the same spot. I remember David Payne sitting right over there and watching the May 3rd tornado go by and me flying up 44, and I thought, not again.
A lot of people are making that comparison to May 3rd and then today's tornado. How would you say they're alike or different?
Well, this one probably, you know, I don't know until we get, but I don't think it was quite as big as May 3rd, but the problem with it was slow moving. And the slower it goes, the more damage it can do because it sits there and just absolutely just churns up whatever it hits. And you can see that by evidence of the carnage you look at it. I mean, the homes are just crumpled up. There's not pieces big enough, you know, no bigger than this table. They're just chewed up and they're left and the slabs are clean. And that's just because it's moving so slow and it's just sitting there and it's just grinding away at these homes. And you see it grow. Now, as this grows out at the bottom here, that's all debris that is starting to be carried out around the tornado. So you can see, I mean, it's just amazing pictures from Bob Mills, Sky News 9, as this tornado. You see the whole upper wall of the tornado turning, and then the bottom part there, and it just keeps growing. And as we go along, this is about a 3-minute clip. We don't have to watch all of it. We go all the way to the end here, but this is some of the best stuff here. This is where it's coming up. I can't remember. I think this may have been where it's getting pretty close to Santa Fe, western Santa Fe, where we show all the cars that are just, basically it's a parking lot. I'm looking at western.
That shot you showed us down Santa Fe with the headlights coming out, it looked like gridlock.
Right, it was. And it was just so many people trying to get to the schools and trying to get places.
And this thing was coming right across them.
Right, and so it just locked up the road. And of course, all the emergency, OHP, everybody, OHP was running up I-44. They were trying to get up Western and trying to get up Santa Fe to clear these people out of the way, but I mean, at that point, it was just jammed up. Nobody could move, and so once it crossed through there, and we saw that it was going to cross I-35, and then I had a shot of I-35, and it was the same thing. It was just gridlocked, you know, and you're thinking, you know, just come on and move, you know, because when it crosses, people are going to die.
Right.
I mean, we saw some cars that I don't think anybody ever got out of. I mean, because they were so mangled. But once it crossed I-35, now the only thing that is a lot different, like I told you in my many reports before, once it crossed I-35, it narrowed quite a bit. So it narrowed, and it was just a very small path.
There you can see I-35, and
right.
now that's on the east side.
That's on the
after
east
it
side,
crossed.
and there's where it crossed. Of course, look at these cars. I mean, they're just...
These are some of the cars you showed us.
Right. They're just mangled and crushed, and you know, that's a concrete barrier right through there.
Right.
And I mean, it just took the concrete barrier right out.
It did.
And so then it ended up about a, you know, mile and a half, 2 miles east of Draper, and that's where it lifted. So that was the only good thing out of this whole thing, was that it could have stayed very wide and went on across there, and it could have made that little bit of left turn and went up by Tinker through Dale City.
Yeah, it could have.
You know,
Yeah, it
I-44 and sooner.
hit really close to Tinker.
And but it stayed straight east, and then it dissipated. And luckily, straight east is pretty much wooded area and very sparsely.
Well, good work. You gave folks a lot of warning today.
Well, you know, we try. We
That's
try
all
our
you can do.
best, and
Yeah.
that's all you can do.
Oklahoma.